again here then. If you've got no energy, put a plate on.
same way we are.
I've had mine done for the year.
Have you? Okay. That's good.
I have to have them done because there's issues going on.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, you've got to be careful then.
Mum has that.
Yeah.
do stuff, but we don't.
Two of us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We watched Katie. Yeah, we watched Katie do a park run today. Oh.
Take photos. Yeah. Coaches will take photos on top of.
Proper then. It's good.
No one wants to put themselves on the line to get things
Okay, so it's hooked up.
I'll find out who's right on that.
First Battalion, then based in Malta, were amongst the first to find themselves on the streets of Northern Ireland. Sectarian tensions broke out, 40 years of conflict in the province. Repeated shock tours for up to 6 months and several 2-year residential tours took Devon Northern soldiers to the urban environment of Belfast, as well as rural areas such as Saint-Armand. In Northern Ireland, West-Country soldiers' professionalism and temperament were ideally suited for the task of supporting the police, despite Evelyn Gloucester's reputation as second to none. With the structure, President Reagan leading the West, they took steps to enhance deterrence with the deployment of cruise missiles and improved air defense. As a result, the regiment were again extending orders to helping territorial army countries. All the bases
there and there's something on books. So you're back. Yeah.
Hey, what's Kate Taylor?
Yeah, there is like.
I can see the wave. I can just literally see it. I can see two figures, and it's like.
Ну там, говорит, поставить кровать, разложить кровать.
Good job. Better? No, you still can't. But he didn't ask us, did he? Because he knows we don't do it.
Thank you.